Welcome, beautiful ones. This is day 21 of our 30-day journey, 30 days of illumination. And today's topic is going to be really enlightening. Working off the theme of illumination, I have so much to share with you on this topic, and it has been incredibly impactful for me to learn about the body and how trauma is related to the body and how we can work with the body to heal. And so today is going to be really, really delicious. Yay! You're able to be here live. That's so awesome. So thank you for those who are here live with me. Thank you for those who are watching the replays afterwards. Your comments are welcome. Your questions are welcome, especially around this topic today. And it's all about how the body keeps the score. So first of all, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Sarah Shirley. I'm an intuitive healer, a spiritual teacher, a channel, and a medicine woman. And I help people clear the wounds that are blocking them from living in their fullest potential, from living their truth, and from sharing their gifts with the world. That's what I do. And I've been doing that already for several years. And I'm able to help people because I've had to do so much of this inner work myself to peel away many layers of the things that were blocking me, of being able to show up fully and being able to accept my gifts, to love them, to nurture them, to keep developing them, and to use them as a beacon of light in this world. So I wanted to share, if you have not entered my giveaway yet, you can check it out. It's a pinned post on my Instagram. There's a giveaway that is running until March the 8th, and you can win a free intuitive healing session with me. So check that out. And also, I wanted to share that this week I have lots of really exciting lives coming up, and I'm going to be going live with a few of my colleagues as well in the spiritual community, including Psychic Steph Speaks and Natasha Dreamseer as well. We're going to have some amazing conversations that I'm sure will support you as well in your journey. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, so the body keeps the score. I got really excited about doing this topic, and this book, the name of today's theme, is based off a book by Bessel van der Kolk, who is from the Netherlands, and he's a very famous psychologist or psychotherapist. I think he probably goes by psychologist. And this book talks about the way that trauma impacts our bodies and our minds. So traditionally, therapy and psychotherapy was all about the mind, but his book has been quite revolutionary because it's teaching in the psychotherapy realm that the body actually carries a lot of trauma. It's not just stored in our thoughts and beliefs in our mind, that our body is what stores this energy or these wounds and traumas that have happened to us. And so I actually read this book last year in March, I believe, of 2023. And it was at a time in my life where I was going through a really deep process and it was extremely painful. And I had to take I was alone for 3 weeks during that time. None of my friends were available. I was living somewhere off in nature, totally alone and isolated, and it was wintertime. So if you live anywhere in the north, you know that the light can be quite dim outside during that time, and I had to go very deep inside myself through this process. And this book was really, I read it so fast. It's a thicker book. I'm not sure how many pages, maybe 300 or 400 pages, but I remember just devouring it because I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. And just a little warning, there's some very heavy stories that he shares in there about people who have been through very intense trauma in their lives. And then he kind of illuminates, what happens to them and how that trauma impacts them. So one thing I wanted to share before we even go any further is what is trauma? And basically, trauma is what happens to our nervous system when an event or a series of events, like recurring events, happen and they're too much too soon on our nervous system. So it's too much too soon. So our nervous system is not able to process it. And then what happens is the wounds, those energies, the emotions, they get stuck in our bodies and it impacts us. So normally when trauma happens or something difficult happens, as humans, we have the ability to, move the energy. And that's what animals do if they go through a really traumatic experience. Let's say an animal gets attacked by another animal out in the wild, and the animal gets away. What happens is animals will do this really big shake, and they'll shake out their bodies and release the trauma. And so they might go through this process for a few minutes. I've seen this video online of this polar bear. Something happened to this polar bear. I think he was injected. And then when the polar bear starts to come back, the polar bear starts shaking and going through this whole experience to release that energy from the body. So when we don't have that release, what happens is it stays stuck inside of us. So very traumatic events, or even smaller ones, can stay stuck inside of us. And then those wounds keep impacting us in our daily lives as well. So some trauma responses include fight, where we want to go into a fight, like to argue or like actually physically fight with somebody. Flight, which means we want to like leave. It's like, oh my God, I need to leave. This is not safe. We run away. And this can happen even in small, like seemingly small situations. Like let's say you're in a disagreement with someone that you love, and all parts of you just want to run away because it's too much on your nervous system. When actually, in fact, like you're not in danger in that moment, but your body, your nervous system reacts as if you are. So you just want to flee, I should say. Another trauma response is freeze. And this can happen where we just completely freeze. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to say. Our body just shuts down. Our nervous system shuts down. So fight, flight, freeze, and there's also fawning. And so fawning can be like, for example, pretending that everything is fine when it's actually in fact not. You're like, oh yeah, that's okay. But actually inside you're like, oh my God, that feels terrible for me. And so it's like pretending almost, or like people pleasing towards the beings that you're engaging with, the people that you're engaging with in that situation. So those are the main 4 types of trauma responses that we can have and experience. So, going back to that example of the animals shaking and releasing immediately, and then they just kind of move on with their day, we also need to be able to like do that. And I think a big part of healing is around letting ourselves feel the unprocessed feelings and energies that are stuck inside of us, and finding ways to make sure that you are held and safe to do that. So everyone's at a different place in their journey. You might be able to do some of this work on your own, and that's amazing. And other times you might need to have a safe space and a safe person that you can process these energies with. So like a coach, a healer, or in a breathwork ceremony or some kind of medicine ceremony where the space is held and you're being supported. Because a lot of times what we truly need in our healing to release trauma is a compassionate witness. So maybe we didn't have that. For example, if this wound comes from our childhood, maybe we had these traumatic experiences and the person that was there with us told us like, oh, suck it up, be quiet, like don't feel that way, stop crying. And so we keep that inside of us, and it keeps building and it keeps building and building each time we have that response. Like maybe that same trigger comes up, and if we don't allow ourselves to feel it, then it can create disease, anxiety, depression, fatigue, all kinds of things. So we need to be able to have this capacity to feel our emotions and feel the unfelt and the unprocessed traumas in order to release them. So there's lots of ways that you can do that. And tomorrow I'm going to be talking about 5 different embodiment practices to support your healing. So do check in tomorrow if you would like to learn more about that. So it's important to create safety inside of our bodies when we're feeling triggered and the wounds are active inside of us. So a simple practice you can do is literally just placing your hands on your body and taking some nice deep breaths. The touch is really, really healing. Touch can be so healing, this physical sensation. Or another practice you can do is to kind of just gently and slowly look around the room and notice the colors and the sensations. Of course, you wouldn't do this if you're in a war zone, like where it's really not safe. But let's say you are in a position where you actually physically are safe in that moment, which is most of the time for most of us. Right? And start looking around the room and just noticing everything and taking nice deep breaths. This can help soothe your nervous system so that it gives you the capacity to be able to feel more deeply and to move through the energies that are here. So this whole theory around trauma and like wounds that happen and they get stuck inside of us, it's really like, it proves kind of why like talk therapy, I find it doesn't really work. It's helpful, definitely, because one component, a powerful component of healing is bringing awareness to what's present, is becoming aware of why you're being triggered and what's present. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling very unsafe right now. I'm scared someone's going to yell at me or be critical towards me or like reject me, for example. So awareness is super important. But just knowing about it doesn't really move the energies for us. So we need to be able to process and feel. And this has been a really massive part of my own healing journey and the way I support my clients, because I am actually clairsentient. And so that means that I can feel intuitively. This is my strongest healing ability. It's quite high up there on the spectrum, and it's a beautiful gift and also very challenging sometimes for me, for those of you out there who are also highly sensitive, empathic, and can feel quite strongly. But the gift of that is it helps me be able to guide people to where the energies are being stored and stuck in their body, and to really drop into it in a safe way so that the messages can come, so that the emotions and feelings can move through you, and that you can actually like fully let it go and be able to move forward with your life. So yeah, this capacity helps me be able to help people. And it's happened so many times where somebody is feeling something, like there's something going on in someone's body, and I'm able to feel it for them first before they're even able to feel it. There's a story I love to share around, like, one time I was hanging out with my mom a few years ago, and every time I'd go near her, I like was feeling like a little bit of like sickness in my throat. And I was like, oh, and I asked her, are you sick right now? She's like, no, I'm fine. And then like it happened again where I got closer to her, and then I'd feel like this sensation in my throat. And then I asked her again, like, are you sure you're not sick? Like, I really think you should tune in. And she started dropping into her body and connecting a little more. She's like, oh, actually, I do feel like I'm a little bit sick. I can feel that in my throat. And I was like, oh. And so then we got her some oregano oil, and she started taking care of herself to clear that, sickness away. So this has happened many, many times. And feeling, instead of just being and living in the mind, feeling into the body is really a massive key to your healing and to your awakening, so that you can clear all the gunk out of there that's impacting you in negative ways that aren't supporting you to be your fullest expression in this world and to live the life that you came here to live. So let me know how this is landing for you. You can let me know in the comments. And also feel free to share, like, if anything is coming up for you or how you're doing today. I wanted to mention also that discomfort is like a messenger. Just like our emotions are messengers for us. When you're feeling sad or hurt or angry, it's a messenger to show you something. And so instead of avoiding them or running away from them, I highly encourage listening to your body, because your body does keep the score. It has so much to tell you. There's so much wisdom inside your body. Like, oftentimes when I make decisions, I check in with my body first. I'll place a hand on my heart and a hand on my womb and check in with my body and see, okay, what do you want right now? What feels true to you? I do this a lot with food as well. How's my belly feeling right now? Do you want these, like, whatever, tomatoes or something? And it's like, no, not today. And so I won't eat tomatoes because I have quite a sensitive digestive system, and I'm working on healing that right now. So checking in with my belly, for example, is like really great medicine. And you can do that and apply that in so many different parts of your life. Check in with your body. Check in with your heart, with your belly. You can check in with your third eye and ask just by placing your hands there, or your throat. If you're feeling tightness in your throat, you can just put your hands there and check in and see. Take a moment. Maybe you might need to take some breaths or drop in a little deeper and see, like, why are you feeling tight right now? And maybe there's this fear to speak up about something, or fear to put yourself out there and be seen. But know that the discomfort that resides inside your body, it's not worth running away from, because it's a messenger. It's a powerful messenger, and it's a very powerful key to your healing and your growth. So we just had the snow moon that just passed on Saturday. And this time of the year is really a time, it's the final full moon. It was the final full moon of winter. And so we're in this final stage of winter. And traditionally, the peoples who lived in the north, more indigenous tribes, this would be a time where like their food would be running out. You know, maybe they only had a few like dried items left or cured things, and food was starting to get scarce. But there's this feeling of, with this moon, we're getting close to the new astrological year. The next one will be coming up close to the third week of March or so. That'll be Aries full moon. And that marks the new year of, actually, I'm not sure if it's in Aries, but the point, we're going into Aries season. I don't think it's in Aries, actually. Forgive me, I'm not an astrologer. But we'll be going into Aries season and the start of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And so this time that I wanted to share, the reason why I'm bringing up is because this time that we're in right now is like the last stretch. Winter is a more inward season, a time to go inside and to feel and release the things that don't serve us anymore, so that come spring, we can plant the new seeds of intention and desire, like physically outside if we grow gardens, but also metaphorically inside of us. The energies are like rising and there's more sunshine outside, and that gives us more strength and vitality to show up bigger in the world and to, you know, work on our projects and to have more confidence. It's more of a yang season, spring. So we have one more month until that time. So my question for you is, what do you need to cleanse still? What do you need to release from your body, from your, you know, belief system, that will help you get ready for this upcoming spring season? So I invite you to do a little bit of pondering, or maybe even some journaling about that, to see what do you need to cleanse so that you can keep stepping into your dreams. Do you need to work on your beliefs around money and abundance? Maybe there's some old limiting beliefs or old ancestral energies that you could be carrying inside of there. What needs to be cleansed? And use your body as a messenger. Remember that your body is very divine. Many religions and spiritual paths have taught us to kind of transcend the body and overcome the body. Whereas the path that I follow, and more feminine-based paths, and it doesn't mean you're a woman if you follow a feminine-based path of spirituality, it's more around like connecting to the earth, connecting to the cycles, you know, accessing intuition, feeling. These are more feminine-based qualities that any person can embody and can follow. And I encourage you to keep listening, to keep seeing what's here, to give yourself space, to let go, and to move forward, and to keep honoring your body, to go down into the body rather than up and outside of yourself. This is huge. So a couple of other resources that I wanted to share with you around this theme of trauma and the body are Gabor Mate. He's a really famous, great teacher around this topic, as he's been teaching. He's a doctor and he's been teaching for decades in this area. And also Peter Levine. So you can check out some of their work. There's so many practitioners nowadays that are teaching about somatics. There's been a huge rise in somatic healing. I'm seeing so much more of it on Instagram and just like online, and seeing it in different offerings, like somatic healing. I have a little hair in my eye. So there's a reason for that. And I'm so glad it's happening also in the realm of psychotherapy and psychology, and that they're recognizing the importance of getting into the body. It allows you to move energy. So again, tomorrow I'm going to be sharing 5 embodiment practices to support your healing. And so I do recommend tuning back in. Don't forget to enter into my giveaway, which is pinned on my Instagram feed. And keep an eye out for the upcoming days that I'm going to be going live with other beautiful practitioners who have beautiful medicine to offer you as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad. It's an honor to share this topic. I love this topic so much, as I've just witnessed firsthand how much getting in tune with the body and how much feeling through the energies and releasing them will liberate you and allow you to keep moving forward in your life and peeling away the layers of the things that don't serve you, so you can be more of yourself in this world. Thank you for being here. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.